3, 2, 1. Wait, what comes after 1? Alright, action. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, subscribers. My name is Ryan Smith. Get your umbrellas out because I'm about to brainstorm. Welcome to my podcast. Let's go. Alright guys, Anchor.fm, my home podcast platform, my favorite of all of them, by far. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's by Spotify. It's their podcast wing. Has everything you need in one place. Let me explain. Has all the tools you need to record and edit the podcast right from your phone or your computer. There's so much you'll see on YouTube about needing this microphone, that microphone. No, Anchor has it all right in the app. I'm telling you, the quality that it can pick up in your voice right from a normal phone, it's unmatched. No app I can download can record with the precision of Anchor. And when you're hosting on Anchor, you can describe your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google, radio host, even more. It's just everything you need to make a podcast, guys. It's all in one place. It's the best. And guess what? It's completely free. Download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, anchor.fm, that's ANCHOR.fm to get started. Alright guys, so this is where I will normally have 3 topics, and usually there's a 20-minute and 2 10-minute topics, and we'll put a commercial after the, I'll give you 30 minutes straight and no commercials because, you know, they pay me, but fuck them. I guarantee you at least 12 just dropped me. 12 of my sponsors just dropped me. Well, let me think. Which sponsor don't I actually like? I like Plackers, the things for my teeth. I like using them, so I don't want to lose them. Oh yeah, Gatorade Zero. Gatorade. I just don't think you need, on the off chance I blow up, I don't think you need to have me fucking plugging your product. You have people pouring your product on coaches' heads after every victory. By the way, little known fact, first person to do that was Harry Carson in 1986-87 season for the New York Giants. Other little known fact, first person to spike a football, his name was Homer Jones, running back for the New York Giants. Other little known fact, there's a word in our language that we now universally pronounce wrong. It's called, except you'll notice that in certain situations, usually military and older phrases, we pronounce it right. The word is defense. Like, who's the Secretary of Defense? They're the first line of defense. But in New York, back in the days when the Giants played in Yankee Stadium, they started this thing. Defense. 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 And that's to inform most of the country. And for people in Philadelphia, it's to make you be like, bullshit, and look it up and realize it's right, and realize that you guys still have the Rocky statue outside your stadium because that's still the closest thing you have to a champion. By the way, not to pull salt in the wound, Sylvester Stallone was a softcore porn actor, and that movie was written about Chuck Wepner, some fucking nobody boxer that just had like a steel chin and got the shit beat out of him by Muhammad Ali. They fought till there was like 3 seconds left in the 15th round, and they finally called the fight, and the guy actually was the only boxer that looked as beat up as fucking Rocky. Because, in case you didn't know, you ever get that beat up in a fight, you're not fucking going back out for the round. Cut me, Mick? Are you kidding me? The guy had fucking fully formed bruises 4 minutes into the fight. Anyway, Philadelphia, that was a kick in the balls to you. You're always going to be second fiddle. And by second fiddle, I mean, when you guys did win the Super Bowl, You celebrated with a guy eating horse shit in the middle of Broadway, and you cheered for him. You guys are much more comfortable aspiring to be champions and throwing batteries at Santa Claus. Don't try that championship thing again. And that trick play that you beat the Patriots with, disgusting. Disgusting. You ran a fucking gimmick. What is this, fucking like college football? You ran a gimmick play in the Super Bowl? In the red zone? It's like the fucking put the ball under the shirt trick. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed, Philly? No wonder you ate horse shit. And by the way, in '08, the year before the Yankees beat your ass in the World Series with a pitching rotation that included CC Sabathia, and CC Sabathia. They went with a three-man rotation. A.J. Burnett, who they signed to big money, had like a 6.8 ERA that year. He just couldn't fucking play for it. He wasn't a Yankee. Every other team was great. And then they had a 43-year-old Andy Pettit. Those were the three pitchers. You guys had like Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay. You guys had like 4 of the top 5 pitchers in the league on your team, and they smoked you. When you won the World Series in '88, which, by the way, I was born in '83, was the only other championship, and I'm almost 40, and there's 4 major sports. So of the 156 chances, you've won twice. In 2008, it was the only year the Yankees didn't make the playoffs since their dynasty. It was the last year in the old stadium. And I was a little upset about that, but it was funny because I could still say, you guys won when the Yankees weren't in. See, that's like an asterisk win. And the next year, they built a new stadium, and they beat you. And Ryan Howard, on the last fucking play of the game, he hits a dribbler to the pitcher, that like 6'3" fat first baseman, and he starts to hustle it out, like they teach in Little League, which I usually give props to. But he tears his Achilles tendon and never plays again. So after fucking you guys go up 1-0 and beat CC Sabathia, our only good pitcher, you should have had the thing locked up. CC could only make 2 more starts, so we can't win. We'd have to. You figure you can get lucky one game, but that's still only 3 wins. But you guys, you fucked it up somehow. Somehow you fucked it up. I mean, one game we used 13 pitchers to win. It was just like everybody take 2 outs. You're not even, pitching innings. We're just gonna get you out there for 12, 13 pitches because we don't have any starters. So we're gonna play the game with bullpen, and we beat you. You guys lost the game to A.J. Burnett. Pettit beat you twice at age 43. Philadelphia. Ugh, God. But anyway, this is where, like I said, this would be the bulk of the show, and advertisements would play in the middle. I was gonna, mock another one. So Gatorade got me off on a tangent, and it's good because, I just put in 7 minutes, and at least 5 of them are about how pathetic Philly is. It's you guys make fun of Giant Stadium, how we share it with the Jets, and how when we built the new stadium 10 years after yours still looks cooler. Well, let me tell you, no, it doesn't, because surrounding the stadium is the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Let me tell you something. It's more like a banana republic. Fucking brotherly love. The one thing I'll say is that I believe this wholeheartedly, Dom. You're gonna have to vouch for this because it's your fucking fault. You're the one that made yourself have a record, not a criminal record, a fighting record. People in South Jersey are tougher than people in North Jersey because they're Jersey, but they got that little bit of like Arkansas twist. They're like 95% Jersey, 5% Arkansas, but that's powerful. So they'll go out and get drunk and just fight each other all the time. Fight. And no one else in the fucking on earth does that. It's so stupid. And they get arrested too. That's not a lie about the courthouse in where the Eagles play and the Phillies play. They really have an on-duty judge. I stood before him once, but I'm proud to say it was because I went to a Giants-Eagles playoff game in 2007 or 2006. It was the year before they won the Super Bowl. First divisional round, the Eagles beat them, like they almost always do. I brought this beautiful cheerleader from the Patriots there on a date, and and we were wearing white and red matching Plexico Burris jerseys. And I told her, listen, like, I'm serious. We are going to get there 2 hours early, not 2 hours for kickoff, 2 hours before people start to get there and tailgate. So the game's at 7:30. We're getting there at 2:30 and going in. She's like, what are you talking about? What are we going to do for 5 hours? I'm like, we're going to not get jumped because you want me to be all cutesy and go to fucking Philadelphia wearing matching Plexico Burris jerseys and have tickets. I literally bought tickets on the 45-yard line in the third row. They were like $4,800 a piece because I was so fucking, I grew up there. I knew it was going to happen. Some random stranger was just going to punch me in the face, and maybe her too. And if it wasn't the stranger that punched her, the stranger's girlfriend definitely would have. Because Philly girls, they all fight. They're just like the guys. That whole fucking city, I wish it could slide off the fucking coast and just like float away to, I don't know, somewhere I don't like. Fucking Romania. I don't have anything against Romania. Actually, yes, I do. They're like fucking Kazakhstan. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I'm like, my theory was this. We didn't get there that early. We got there, and I paid to have a security escort. And keep in mind, people that know me, they'll vouch. This is when I'm 23 years old. I'm still fighting on a regular basis for no reason at bars. I was the only one in the VIP section that would be getting in fist fights. What, Ryan, why'd you hit him? I don't know. He looked at me, bumped into me. Or I don't know. I don't like his face. I just always punch people. There's one hit, and I had this gift I was born with. My grandpa's a welterweight champion. My uncle that lives in Boulder, he fucking boxed his whole life and ended up getting into a fight in school. They charged him with using his hands as lethal weapons, and the sentence was jail or Vietnam, and he goes to Vietnam. I didn't even know I could fight because I weighed 140 pounds soaking wet until I got wise and juiced up my freshman year. And I was at this bar one night. Little did I know, one of my other guinea juiced up friends befriended someone that could be his clone. He's about 4 inches taller, much better looking, but they're both guys that are between 5'10" and 6'2", and when they're skinny and they're really, really skinny, they weigh like 230, and when they're really, really big, they weigh 300, but they very rarely have fat on them. They Italian New Jersey bonded in the bar, and I didn't know. And of course, when we get out of the bar, my friend, because he's from the Philadelphia local section of New Jersey, is fighting people. And keep in mind, he's 25, coming to a college party, and he's like beating the shit out of a 140-pound fraternity. That's their combined weight, not their average weight. There's like 8 of them. They all weighed 60 pounds. 6 pounds, I mean. What is it? 60? 6? Neither? Oh, yeah, neither. Fuck you people. Anyway, and then I look out of the corner of my eye, I see like his clone coming, running full speed at him. And it was funny because he had his fists in the air. Like, I was squinting. I was like, does he have a sword? Because he has his fist over his head and he's running at me like in battle. I don't realize that I totally like lose track of the fact that I'm trying to tell my friend to stop beating everyone. Police are going to be there any second, and I don't want to get arrested because, let's just say, I wasn't the type of person that you wanted the cops to search your house. Let's just expand on that by saying I didn't want the cops to search my house because I was a drug trafficker and there's copious amounts of drugs from every category you could think of. So this guy keeps running and running and running, and he's slow. I only knew he was running because I could see his look on his face. He's punching himself in the chest, all mad and shit. And I'm like, is he really gonna just come like run 100 yards and then punch me in the face? I'm not even doing it. I'm like trying to pull him off of him. Like, and why is he in the skinny fraternity? I'm all confused. And I'm like, buddy, come on. And he gets closer, and I just wind up and fucking crack him. Now, two things. Number one, he was he was drunk as shit. So drunk. Like, so drunk. Because my friends do that too. They fight and they drink to the point where, like, they'll impregnate a man by accident, or whatever the fuck. It's way too drunk. And they do it for fun. And anyway, he's going to come to his defense as the guy's literally like, who's next? Knocking people out one at a time. He's coming to his defense. You hear that? Defense, not defense. So I number one, I'm hitting a drunk man that has no idea I'm about to hit him. He knew I was with him because when they became boyfriends in the bar, he's like, yeah, I'm here with that dude. He's one of my best friends from back home. So he knew who I was. He just didn't communicate or introduce himself to me, and he's getting closer and closer with his fist in the air, running at my friend who's right next to me. So I just stepped in front of him and punched him in the face, and he fucking fell over backwards. Second thing, he's running. I punched very hard, but he was running at it and got it in the nose. So like he was off guard, completely unexpecting it. I was visible to him, but like in his head, we're friends because my best friend, like pointed me out across the bar. He didn't seem to think that I was not aware this happened. I didn't know that they became boyfriends in the bar and were talking about me, and that he assumed that I knew this. So he was totally off guard. He was running at a punch, and I hit very hard. And I was on steroids at the time, so I got that extra little adrenaline. And God bless him, this guy, it's funny because I used to like come home with toys, and he'd live with me, he'd scream out the window, oh great, Ryan has a motorcycle, another penis extension. It's just what he needs. Why don't you park it next to the car with rims and the truck with rims and your fucking jewelry and your 55 shirts that you buy every weekend and the girls that all look like models that are fucking fighting over you. You need another penis extension. Get a motorcycle. It's perfect. Might be the best one yet. That guy? Yeah, well, the guy that keeps fucking texting me, making beeps on my podcast. Well, anyway, he gets fucking knocked down. I fucking pick him up. He's heavy as shit. One of my roommates comes over to me, goes, yo, that's Dom Santoli. He's the heir apparent to be the captain of Delaware's fucking defense. And keep in mind, I ran some calisthenics with him for the next summer, not Dom. A bunch of people on the team, and their physique was great, and they won the national championship. And I think they like shut him out. It was either that, and when I say shut him out, like I think it was like 42-0, or like 45-6. It was something like despicable. And I remember that he sacked the quarterback and forced a fumble, and he didn't hit. Like I've seen him hit hard. He hits hard as shit. He like kind of missed them, but he was so fucking strong that the fucking guy dropped the ball and fell on his ass like he got his neck broken, and it still looked like he fucking hit him as hard as Lawrence Taylor. But I could tell that he could have hit him harder. I couldn't tell if he was going for the strip or not, because of course he's one of those guys that gets excited. He's probably thinking about it. He's thinking about it. Do I go for the strip? Do I sack? If I pick up the fumble, do I run? Do I lateral? Do I do a touchdown dance? Am I like good enough to do a touchdown dance? Do I got the moves? Or none of that's true. I don't know. I never really, amazingly enough, talked to him about football. But yeah, so we bring him fucking home. He weighs like 275. I lived 1/8 mile from the bar. It took like an hour to get him home. He's literally like unconscious Do you ever hear the term dead weight? Me and the guy that's equal to his size, and another guy, Rich, who was equal to their weight, but had B-cup boobs and a gut like fucking Tommy Lasorda. We're all fucking carrying this dude. It's not like carrying, the bar with 245s and a 25 on each side. And, one gets one end, one gets the other. Dead weight. I don't know what it is, but carrying a body that's pushing 300 pounds is so hard. And he was like half conscious, so like we weren't carrying him. We were kind of like say, here, give us your weight. And he was able to give us his weight, that's for sure. He just wasn't able to move his feet and limp. And we put him on the couch. We get a fucking bag of frozen peas, because like everyone in the world, they don't like peas, and when they buy the frozen vegetables, the peas just sit there. I couldn't understand why the frozen peas were in my refrigerator, because to this day, I don't have food in my refrigerator. I go to the supermarket every day, and I eat my meal 10 minutes after I buy it. Because I have ADD, and if I go grocery shopping, I'll be there for 11 hours, and I'll come home with like 43 coconut ice pops and like cat food. So I go to every day to the discount section where the meat that'll be expired in 2 days is. Come home, cook it, eat it with no fucking carbs, and that's a wrap. So anyway, we put this guy on the couch. He stays out for another 30 minutes. And again, he gives me all his credit. Again, it wasn't just my punch. He was so drunk he didn't see me. I am 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. I mean, I'm not 296 foot 2, but I'm a fucking full grown man at this point, and I've done a couple cycles. I'm not invisible, but I guess to him I'm invisible because I'm the size of a fucking quarterback. And he forgot to try to sack me, and he ran into a fist without a helmet on. But bless his heart, whenever we're out and like talking, and there's someone that doesn't know our background, we're like brothers. He called me the other day and said, "Where have you been? It's the longest I've gone without talking to you in our entire relationship." I'm pretty sure that I very specifically remember a 3-year period where I didn't talk to anyone on Earth for 3 years, and that this time he was referring to was like 5 or 6 days. It was such an inaccurate statement, but I didn't even argue. He had a message to deliver, and he called twice, and patience is not one of his strong points. So, he decided to describe it as it's the longest he's ever gone without talking to me. He literally forgot that I didn't speak to one human. This is true. Not one human being. Friends, family. Maybe it wasn't 3 years. Maybe it was 2 years. And of course, I will beat myself up to the day I die because, of course, and I don't think it's like me thinking about me, because this phrase, of course, it's my luck. His 2-year-old son is diagnosed with cancer when I decide to go off the face of the earth. So I'm not there to fucking give him support. And he has his firstborn son fucking literally fighting for his life every day for 2 years, and I have no idea. I talk to my brother occasionally, but I would give him misinformation, so whenever he'd talk to people and tell him things, it was like completely inaccurate. And I knew the people he would tell would know it's inaccurate, and they would think he's lying. Sometimes I'm an asshole, but I want to make a point. I didn't mean to say with my luck his son had cancer. Talk about my luck. What about their luck? What about the kid's luck? I'm happy to report that he survived and is a fighter now, wrestling just like his dad. I think he lost his first year wrestling. I don't think he won the championship when he was like 4, but he almost did. And I think, let's see, how old would this child be now? 2012, I want to say. He's probably 10. Is that right? I don't know. He's between 9 and 11, I want to say. I could be way off, but I don't think I am. I moved to Colorado in 2015, and that was very shortly after I ended my hiding from the world for 2 or 3 years. So, yeah, that means I started that 10 years ago. That's when he was born. Yeah, it was, because that's when I left Clifton in 2010. And I remember going to his baptism or christening, or I don't remember if it's the one that they dunk you in water or the one that, whatever the fuck they do at a christening. It was one of them. I remember going there. The motherfucker has access to the most prestigious school in the state. He can use their cafeteria, he can use their fucking auditorium, to have all his events. It's fucking ridiculous. Everyone's dropping 80 grand. He's walking next door because they also fucking have a raffle who gets to live in a house, and for like 6 years he lived in the house because he won the raffle. So he walked to work, had his son's whatever religious weird ritual in that religion where the priests suck the little kids' peckers all the time. That religion. R. Kelly, by the way, I was thinking, why don't you just convert to Catholicism and go to court for your appeal dressed like a priest? Maybe you won't get arrested, Mr. R. The priests never do. Wear the white collar. Anyway, so he always will like talk to me like with his NFL football player friends, the ones that don't know me, and he'll talk to them about how that time I beat him out and knocked him out and fucking beat him up, and that's how we met. And then next week I walked up to him, and if there was, in other words, surly, if there was ever a more surly human being sitting at a bar, I've never seen one. My roommate, I think they shared the same major, what all fucking star athletes do, health and exercise science. Or like, and if it's not that, it's like sociology or like urban planning. It's all stuff that you've never met someone that says it. What are you? I'm a health and exercise scientist. You'll never meet someone that says that. You'll never meet someone that says I'm a sociologist, even though they study sociology a lot. Or, I'm sorry, not sociology, philosopher. You'll never have someone tell you I'm a philosopher. If someone tells you you're a philosopher, you walk the other way because they're probably crazy. And if they're saying it seriously, you just laugh at them. That's one of those jobs that you only get to be proclaimed post-mortem. If you drop wisdom on people your whole life, they'll call you a philosopher when you die. You don't call yourself a philosopher. It's not in good taste. And what's the other one I said that they major in? Philosophy, health and exercise science. Well, maybe it was sociology. Oh no, urban planning. I've never met an urban planner. Actually, I did meet a couple of them, and like the things that they do, it's like absurd. I'm like, so basically, like you're unnecessary. There's the blueprint that you don't make. The architect makes it. You don't build the house. The builders make it. So there's contractors. You don't buy the house. You're not in the government. You go to a meeting and suggest like the ethnic mix that should be there or the size of the houses that should be there, and they don't listen to you, or they do, it doesn't matter, and then you go home. It's like they give you a gift job and you make like 50 grand a year because to be honest, they work these guys to the bone. They don't have time to have a real major. But anyway, the health and exercise science, majors. He tells these people like I beat him up. And this one time we're leaving my friend Justin's wedding, and I fucking lost something that was a lot of money, and I'm so fucking angry, and I pull over, and I'm like, "Get out! We're fighting!" And he, at this point, by the way, we've been like best friends for 8 years. And the first time we didn't fight, I punched him. I didn't know who he was. He wants to fight me. I wasn't scared at all, but the thing was is that at this point in his life, he slimmed down to like 220 and was a professional jiu-jitsu fighter. I still wasn't scared. I was just thinking like, calm down and get back in the car. He fucking walked around to the side of his truck and opened the door and pulled me out. And I punched him again and again, and he fucking fell. And again, because he's intoxicated, he falls. It's I've seen him get in a cage and fucking knock someone out and put him in a fucking hole and like snap their head off in 15 seconds. And he always wants to fight me when he's. I have this sneaking suspicion that he must think I have low self-esteem or something. Except he knows the stories I have and the confidence I have, so that can't be it. But I feel like he's taken dives because he doesn't lose fights. He doesn't get in a lot of them, but he's a professional fighter when he wants to be. And he literally is in his 40s. I guarantee you he puts in 6-month camp and trains. He'll kick the shit out of a 26-year-old that's in his weight class. He's too mentally tough and too physically strong. And the thing is that he used to be way more physically strong, and he wasn't mentally tough enough. He was all inside his own head that's why he would fucking get knocked out by me. But now he's like a fountain of fucking wisdom, and then out of his ass is a fountain of like overcoming adversity, more than anyone I've ever met has overcome. So the mental toughness, he'll be like what Tyson was when he's 19. Like, yeah, he can physically knock anyone out, but during the stare down, when the refs reading the rules, he won the fight. He sometimes would see guys break eye contact with them. They were so afraid. He would probably do something like kiss the guy, but at the refs reading the rules. He would read the person, see what would make him most off of his game, and he would do that because he has that going for him now, which is great. That's all he needs. Physically and mentally strong person that lives in that area, full of physically and mentally strong people. And I truly believe it's not how Jersey works; it's political. But I truly believe that if he was made and see, here's him, he'll deny it either because it's out of loyalty or he truly doesn't believe it. I really believe that if he was made the head coach of either of the teams that he coaches on, they would win every year instead of almost win. And this year when they did win, they would have won with the national #1 ranking because the kids' parents. You should see how the kids' fucking parents talk to them. Like, I swear to God, I see it every time. I was running from the DEA. He was stashing me in his basement. I hope I don't get him in trouble. So the U.S. Marshals couldn't pick me up for the RICO charges, and it was almost a whole year until I got my own place on Piaget under the name Mark, and started a weed farm. He didn't know anything about any of that, though. He just thought I disappeared for 2 years. Right. No, but really, he kept himself away from illegal because he works in a school. So, but he knew things. He heard things. I swear to God, these fucking kids that he coaches, like, they like want him to be like their dad or their best friend, and like he kind of plays that role and gives them that fucking moral support. And their parents, like, if that was my son treating another grown man like that, I'd be fucking angry. Especially at this age when, it's getting closer and closer to where, he's within 10 years where these students' parents are going to be the same age as him. Not ageism, age as him. Okay? That's why my voice to text always gets fucked up. And I swear to God that you can, if you look really close, every one of them has a Sharpie in their pocket and like a baseball or like a program from a Yankee game or something. You can always see it, everybody, and they always pussy out and they don't ask for his autograph, but they kiss his ass the whole time, talk about how much his son talks about him and loves him, and they always have Sharpies in their pocket. This one guy had a football in his pocket and a Sharpie one time, and Dom just was like, "What, are you happy to see me?" He's completely oblivious that all the dads want his autograph. It's so not New Jersey. A normal reaction would be like, "Who the fuck does this little punk think he is, kid looking up to him like a role model. Who the fuck is he? And to Dom's credit, he'd be like, yeah, who the fuck am I? I'm a fucking nobody. I hate my life. And I should, because everybody else hates me too. And they should. Which, none of that's true. Except the part that he hates his life. That might be true, but that's always been true. He needs like a tune-up. If he was a car, he would just need a tune-up, that's all. None of it's real. If you get him in the fucking right mind state, and he gives you an assessment on his life and the view of the world, it's as spot on as like Socrates. He just is one of those people. I always think he's mad at me. I remember one time he just decided to tell me how important my friendship was to him and what he thinks of me, and I was like so shocked. And it followed like a week of him like screaming at me. He's always yelling at me because there's this thing I do that I'm always way too slow, that I did for a favor. But you see, I always try to keep in mind, like, keep him in a spot where he's not jammed up losing money. He keeps it about principle. I was taught a long time ago, don't mix principle with business. Keep business with business. If the bottom line is good, fuck the principle. If I say, hey, we're going to be up 21% by Friday, but we only get measured by how much we're up at the end of the quarter, and we're up by 25%, you do not yell at me for making 4% more money a week late. But he does that before I even have a chance to be a week late. He predicts it, and he's usually right. And that's my fault. He's always right. But he just talks in this angry tone to everybody. And when you actually get him to be normal, what you find out is like he's not even angry at you. He's either doing it to intimidate you, or because he knows, like, because he's a coach, like the same thing I did when I ran my syndicate. I knew, and for that matter, for the restaurant, I knew everyone that worked for me responded. I knew how to get every one of them to produce the action I wanted to give me the results I needed. He's probably doing that to me because he's a coach. The thing is that I haven't really heard him coach actually the kids, but I've heard him, interact with the adults that he loves in his life. And he just screams at all of them all day. All of them. And then when he's not screaming at them, he's telling them what not to do all the time and insulting somebody else. Like, son, see people like this? They're fucking noodles. Don't have them in your life. They just fucking make you look bad. And they're like leeches. They suck the talent and the fucking blood out of your body. And the kid's smart, and he actually takes it in and listens. But there's just this ever-present anger, and it takes a special person, I suppose, to love that. I love watching it. I hate being the recipient of it sometimes, but every once in a while, at least 1 out of 3 times, I laugh at him. But sometimes I'm really screwing the pooch with the depression issues. I just, first of all, he insists sometimes on asking for things that are impossible, and I tell him it's going to be very hard, but I'll do it. So it's always my fault. I always say yes to things I can't do. And I always fucking set myself up for breaking like the 100-meter dash record. Like, I'm going to run it in 8.2. How do I know? Because I ran it in 8.1 3 times last week in a row. And let's say that was true. When it comes time for the real race, I'll run it in a week and a half. See, all you people are like, what are you talking about? And he's cracking up laughing right now. And I hope he's not driving. No, he's a great driver, actually. I've never seen him get in an accident. I have seen him hang his head out a window and bark at people. I have seen him hang out his window with a tire iron and say, hey, Bal, you want to pull over and talk to me? With his shirt off. I remember he did that once, and I looked close. The guy was like 73. But everyone in New Jersey screaming as road rage. So, like, if you want to do that, you always are running the risk that the guy that you're screaming at you can't really see. It's him. And there's a lot of people that look like him in that part of this country, trust me. Lots. There are lots of fucking bodybuilder looking Italians with fucking foul tempers that that you look at and you just say, like, you know, again, they just intimidate you. He does not intimidate me because I don't know why. Because here's what the truth is. If he threw a punch and knocked me out, he would cry. He would cry his eyes out. He would feel so bad because there's no situation on earth that I would ever start a fight with him since the first time I did. I started to say if there was ever a surlier person in the bar, the week after I punched him, and they told me who he was, and I should like try to make nice. Like, the night I hit him, so I did. I iced him up, and I went upstairs, and I was gonna get some gauze. I come down, he's gone. I look out of my front lawn. He's wrestling this kid named Donald, screaming, "I was a state champion wrestler in New Jersey!" And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? When did that guy Donald get here? Why is, and he's like, "You're hurting me, man, for real, you're hurting me. What do you think I'm trying to do? Give you a kiss?" And I just shut my door and went back inside. It was too much. I had no idea what was going on. But the next week I saw this surly man with two black eyes. And like I must have got him good because they were black a week later. Sitting there, like, sipping a drink. It was a beer. He was nursing it. Because, you know, his trademark, just like most athletes in college, always broke. So I'm next to this guy named Mozilla, who's good friends with him. I'm like, "Yo, do you think I should go tell him that it was me that hit him?" And he goes, "If you want to have your head removed from your neck, then sure. Listen to me, Ryan. Do not ever tell him that, ever. Don't tell anyone that. You got away with it. You can tell. He's glanced up at us a couple times. He's not paid any attention. He doesn't know it's you. He never will. And the fact that you're friends with me and you're friends with that kid, like he's never gonna think it's you." And I'm like, "Well, that's not the way to go about it. You're a bitch." I walk right up to him, like, "Look, my name's Ryan. I'm from New Jersey." You know, I tell him, I drop the name of the guy I live with. I live with Greg and Nisi. I hear you guys are good friends, and he gives me this look. I didn't know what the look was at the time. Now I know. And let's not be mean, but let's just say they're not. You know, when I said I know you're good friends, Greg and Nisi is my roommate. I wasn't gaining points like I thought I was. I was losing them rapidly. Not because he didn't like them, just because, like, you know, this kid was, like, acting like, you know, they're boys. When really it's like his sister, like, leached onto him and his friends and they used her for, like, rides or something. That was the relationship. And he said, "Hi, Dom," every once in a while. So he's like sitting there like Motherfucker Jones in that movie, like sipping a drink, looking over, like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "So look, I'm just gonna get right to it. Look like you broke your nose because you got punched in the face last week. I did it." And I just stared at him right in the eyes. I was like, "You need to understand, you were running full speed at me. I want to give my side of the story. My best friend was behind me. He was fighting, knocking people out one at a time. He didn't need help, so I only could assume that you were running at him to fucking hit him, because he couldn't see you were running at him. And I just jumped in front of him. I only hit you once, like I didn't stomp you, but you know, like I thought you were trying to hit him, and you have to understand that right when I hit him, I remember Joey turns around and goes, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing? That's the boy I met in the bar. He's coming over your house after." I don't know what his problem was. He still came over the house after. I mean, he wasn't conscious, and he ended up wrestling some dude with a fucking afro on my front lawn. And then when I came outside, I think I actually eventually came outside because I didn't want cops at my house once again for the 100th time. That's the worst place for them to be. And I'm like, "Yo," and he looks at me, "What are you doing?" And then he just takes off, like not running away from me though. Takes off like in a drunken stupor, like I'm gonna go find more adventure. And that night when I told him, he stared at me. He thought about it. You could tell for like 3, like, which way am I going to go? And then he gave me the biggest smile, and he hugged me. And he goes, I got to tell you something. You must have brass balls, because I don't care if you told me that you mistook me for the guy that killed your father. I've been dreaming about murdering you all week, and I'm in an embrace. And I'm like, this is really not comfortable. And then he lets me go, and he's like, he just starts laughing about it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, but for real, man, like, you know, I thought my boy was gonna get hit. You know, I did see the size of you. You know, I didn't think I was gonna come out victorious, but you know, you were running. I hit you. You fell. You know, it's physics. So, but I just want you to focus on this part. I brought you back to the house. I tried to nurse you back to health. I don't know why you decided to wake up from your unconscious rest with the nice ice bag of peas on your eyes and put this poor black kid in a headlock on my front lawn. That is like a hippie black kid, not a violent wrestler black kid. So I don't know why you did that, and I certainly don't know why you scampered off. He goes, I don't know either, but I woke up the next morning and opened my eyes, and there were 2 giant tits in my face. And I look, and it's this girl that like I really never liked and didn't want to fuck, but she like was obsessed with me. And we're on to talking about that. And we never like mentioned the fight again for like 2 years. And it's mentioned by him. I never mention it. This is the first time that I am mentioning it, ever. He's always telling people that I like, and it always gets exaggerated how bad I beat the shit out of him. I did not beat the shit out of him. I'm going on record. He's just such a good friend that you know, he knows that those NFL players are looking me up and down, and I don't do steroids and lift weights anymore, and they're like, and they know that he's a fucking, you know, D1 football player. You know, he's as close as you can get to, you know, being at the part of the game where you get drafted. He got as close as you can get without being a pro. And then he coaches, and he transforms himself and becomes a professional fighter. And they all think that he can kick their ass. And they look at me very confused, and they think he's lying maybe. And then they realize he's not. But he is. That's the thing. I didn't kick his ass. I threw a punch when he was running at my fist. It hurt so bad. He has such a fucking big, hard head. It is so fucking hard. It's like a pit bull's head times 2. And you know, I didn't show anybody that I had fucking 2 broken fingers for like a month. It was the ring finger and the middle finger. But like, you know, the talk of the fight never came up. You know, like he's wise. He's also very disturbed. You know, we were talking a little bit ago today, because I wanted to make sure to call him, since, you know, apparently if I don't call for 5 days, I get a phone call, like a wellness check, saying I haven't ever gone this long without talking before. Still don't quite know what he's up to, because he knew that wasn't true. But anyway, you know, like I said, he gets away with all kinds of weird behavior because it's not weird behavior, it's his behavior. And when it's not weird, it's angry and yelling. But even that, it's not real anger. It's like, I don't know, it's like he has a healthy outlet that's very unhealthy. It's like the people that, like, their wife comes home and say, I fucked your best friend today. And they go down to the gym and hit a punching bag and come back up and say, listen to me, that's going to stop, and I never want to hear you talk about it again. Make dinner. I'm going to take the kid to baseball practice. And like the fight ends. You know, you ever hear of a healthy outlet? I'm not saying he would do that. First of all, his wife loves him. And whether he admits it or not, he loves her. Cheating's not happening in the house, but I don't even want to know what would happen if he was put in that situation. He would probably try to see if it was possible to pull a man's head off with his bare hands. Or he would start laughing at her and pull her head off with his bare hands but with his like act that he's putting on, that he could care so little because she's so unimportant to him, his wife, and not like his actual wife. I'm just talking theoretically, anyone he would be married to, he would do one of those two things. He would go try to pull someone's head off with his bare hands. That was the guy that was involved. Or he would try to break the soul by laughing at the woman. That's what he does. It's pretty impressive, and it's pretty disturbing, and that's why only people like me love him, because it's just too much for everyone else. But I want more. I'm the only one that's like, you got any more? I start having kids, man. Every time you have another kid, you give me less. And now you have the nerve to tell me, do not get married and do not fucking have kids. I'm like, I have a vasectomy, I can't. He's like, but the girl you're marrying has kids. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not even, like, they you know what my pastor's done? There's a court order that says I'm not allowed to fucking be within like 100 feet of them for a year. So I have to have my own apartment for a year before I could even see them. And even then, like, only half of the time I see them, and I'm maybe gonna work at restaurants, or you know, like I'll have very little interaction with them. They have like a good dad. Don't. And today he said I'm siring children. I'm like, damn, that means like I'm a horse they put out to stud, and they're all my kids. Once again, these are not my kids. I'm not going to be a stepfather that gives a fuck. I'm going to, be quite honestly, a stepfather that says, I think I just saw you do something that involved you and your 15-year-old self being naked on the couch with your boyfriend. I'm looking the other way, and if you fucking don't get him out of here in 5 minutes, I'm telling your mother. And I would never tell her because I just wouldn't want the conflict. I don't want to be involved in the parenting. I just want to like look the other way. Well, it's kind of like my life motto. I look the other way of every single law they ever made. And if it was a law that interested me, I'd look the other way and broke it. If it was a law that didn't interest me, I probably followed it, or not, whatever the situation called for. You know, I make my own laws. Anyway, this has been the Sunday Ramble. A lot of you guys love this. This is the thing that my friends hate. It's actually possible to talk to me on the phone for an hour and not speak one word, and have me go nonstop and change topics 100 times. But I just want to remind you, I started out saying that I'm going to give you a little sample clip of, this is where I do the thing with my advertisers. I'm going to, fuck with them, because I got to send my boy a clip so you can see the podcast. Because, of course, he's the one that told me to do it, and he hasn't listened to an episode. Idiot. So I was supposed to just have the intro, the outro, give an example of how I break the commercial, which is how I get paid, and then I was going to be like, and that's it. And when he listened to it, I was going to delete it. Instead, I made it into the Sunday Ramble that I was supposed to record on video. You know what that means, folks? Tonight, your video is going to have my lips not matching up with the audio, because if you think I'm doing this again, you are out of your fucking mind. I don't even, because what you're making me do, more so than a Sunday Ramble, is try to get inside the head of Dom Santoli. I might have to go take a nap right now. I'd rather try touching the moon than getting inside of his head. So, I want... Your Honor, I want that on the record. I'd rather try touching the moon than getting inside of Dom Santoli's head. Fuck, I wasn't supposed to say his name. Alright, FCC, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube. I know you have all these rules, but did you see the size of that document? It was delivered to me in a U-Haul truck. And I know that, most packages are delivered in trucks, but most of them aren't, cases with 10 reams of paper in them, and there's not 4 of them brought to my house on a hand truck. And I say, what the fuck is this? 40 reams of paper? That's fucking 200,000 pages. It's your contract and rules and regulations. What? I called my lawyer and asked him how much it would cost to go over a 200,000 page document. And he said, well, first things first, I told you from the get-go, call me when you're in jail for criminal activity. I'm a criminal lawyer. But theoretically, I have a two-person law firm. Right? I'm retired. Collectively, we work 60 hours a week. If it's a minute a page, you do the math. It would probably take a year of us working to get through the document, and then we'd have to advise you on it. And here's the thing, 90% of it is just like jibber jabber terms and conditions that every website has. 10% of it says like, don't make fun of us, we'll be your sponsors, but if we're going to give you a platform, you're going to show us respect, and you can't break that. So I've made it a point to, say, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, thank you for the platform. Go fuck yourself. My lawyer is a fucking pitbull, and my new corporate attorney, CLO of Google, he's been in front of Congress 43 times and never lost. This guy has been in front of a jury for 20 RICO cases and never lost. I'm ready to lawyer up, and I'm suing you for fucking pain and suffering, and you're paying all my legal costs, and I'm telling them to double my price. So, I know it's not going to get to that, because you guys like me, and I know I'm just going to get a speech tomorrow, but just know I'm never listening to speeches. I'm going to keep breaking that rule, and I'm going to teach you a lesson. You fucking better put your money where your mouth is, or people like me are going to walk all over you and do it to entertain themselves. I don't even believe any of those bad things I'm saying about you, but I'm just going to do it because you told me not to, and I'm calling your bluff, and maybe someone out there that does hate you will hear it, and they'll get to make fun of you, and that's when you'll get pissed at me, and I'll worry about that then. So, everybody, you have my permission. I think I see the sun coming out. Put your umbrellas away. The brainstorm has cleared up, and I need a nice, cool beverage. Over and out. This has been an R. Smith production, 2022. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed me rambling today about someone that you never knew about, but trust me, you're gonna know about him. He's gonna swear that you won't, because people say, oh, his middle name is fucking action. This guy's middle name is pessimism and holler for no reason. And that's a hyphenated word. Pessimism, holler for no reason, Santos. Domenico, pessimism, holler for no reason, Santos. I know it's a mouthful, but trust me, he's used to having a mouthful, so don't worry. Alright guys, you officially have my permission to put those umbrellas away. The brainstorm has cleared up, and you are free to go back to your lives, having your opinions given to you. This has been an R. Smith production. Let's have the Sunday Ramble host Ryan here pull himself back on track, because to be honest, I don't even remember what I'm talking about. That's why I like the Sunday Ramble. My friends know that what are you talking about, right? Ryan, this is literally the only way that you ever talk. But my listeners are still trying to figure it out, so I call it the Sunday Ramble in hopes that, I can, get structured and change and, slip this by him as like a skit I do. So anyone that knows me, keep your mouth fucking shut. Don't tell them that I talk like this and ramble all the time. So, anyway. I'm going to get back to health and science, health and exercise science majors, and close on that for about 2 seconds when I get back from this brief commercial break. I'm going to take about a minute out to get paid, and then I'm going to finish up part 2. It was Ali Fraser 1, and then they had Ali Fraser 2. Well, this is Santos Smith 1. You've heard the conclusion. Coming up, Santos Smith 2. Now let's get me paid. think I get 23 cents for this one. Hey guys, just want to remind you, go into the description. There is a link for Uber Eats and there's a link for Marriott Bonvoy. I put it for Android and I put it for iPhone. So there's 4 total links. Download both apps. I'm sure most of you have Uber Eats already and half of you have the Marriott Bonvoy app. When you make a reservation, no more Priceline, Expedia, all that stuff. Marriott Bonvoy, use my promo code MMF. I got to make it up. And they asked me what I wanted. They said it can only be 3 letters. I was like, make it an acronym. Like, for what? I was like, make it Marriott, motherfuckers. And they did it. You guys get the employee discount. That's what I negotiated for you. Everyone else gets you 10% off. This is a varying sliding rate depending on how busy of a week it is at that hotel. But if you haven't checked lately, Marriott, just so you know, owns 51% of the hotels in the world. They own all the Starwood properties. They own the St. Regis. They own the Mandarin Oriental. They own the Ritz-Carlton. Not to mention the Marriott Marquis, the Marriott Business. They own all of them. They make Hilton look like a mom and pop. And Hilton owns like 35%. The hotel business is not a mom and pop industry any longer. Newsflash. Click the link.